Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Bailey Rose, and in today's video we are going to be talking about personal branding versus business branding. In my business, I have a lot of people who always come to me wanting branding for their business, and as a branding designer, they always have a lot of questions. And one of the main questions that I get asked is whether they should set up a personal brand or a business brand. They are two very different styles of branding and can be both very effective in their own unique ways. But in this video, I'm going to tell you the difference between the two and help you make an informed decision when you're setting up your business on whether to set up a personal brand or a business brand. So a personal brand is entirely built around you as a person, your name, your values, your persona, and your personality as a whole. And that is the way that you come across to your audience and to everyone else. You come across as you, and your business is a representation of who you are personally. And you yourself are the front man or front woman of your own business. And you are the face of it, and you are what is recognizable to people. And people will want to work with your brand because they want to work with you specifically. So the pros of setting up a personal brand is that it is so much easier to set up a personal brand than setting up a whole business brand, because we have access to Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and setting up easy, simple websites for ourselves. These are very useful tools that can help you when you're setting up a personal brand. Having a personal brand is also just so much more flexible. So you could maybe start out doing one thing. So for example, I actually have a personal brand. My personal brand is baileyrose.co, and I started out just doing podcasting. And so I would edit podcasts for my clients, and I was a podcast manager. So that was the way that I started my personal brand. But I knew from the beginning that I didn't want to just do podcasts. I wanted to branch out into web design and graphic design and funnels and all of this other stuff that I'm doing now. And so I deliberately chose to do a personal brand versus a business brand, because I'm able to evolve my services and my products that I offer in a much simpler way than having to entirely rebrand my entire business because I wanted to slightly change what I'm doing, as I might have to do with a business brand. Personal brands are also really amazing for coaches and speakers and, social media managers or, anyone like that who you are your brand. The reason that people want to work with your brand is because they want to work with you personally. I'm an online service provider, and I want to have that flexibility, and I want people to want to work with me. So I wanted to make sure that the brand that I chose allowed for that. Another thing with personal brands that I just want to mention is because a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to set up a personal brand, but my name is just too complicated, or, I don't really like my name, it doesn't resonate with me. The thing is that you don't actually have to use your Christian birth name. It doesn't have to be a Christian name. You don't have to use your official birth name, the one that's on your birth certificate. You don't have to use that. I personally didn't. So my name, my business name, and my personal brand name is Bailey Rose, but that isn't the name that is on my birth certificate. My name is actually Bailey Campbell, and Rose is one of my middle names. But I really liked the way that Bailey Rose flowed together, so that's what I ended up choosing because I found that it was really pretty, it resonated with me, and it also created a separation in my mind between my business and my personal life. Despite me wanting to create a personal brand, I really did want to inject my personality into my brand, but I didn't want that to consume every part of my life. And so creating Bailey Rose versus Bailey Campbell was me creating that separation. So I can live as Bailey Campbell in my personal life, but then when I want to go and work in my business, then I can step into Bailey Rose, and I can feel a little bit of a separation. It's more for me personally than for anyone that I work with, because both of them are me. It's just Bailey Rose is me, but in work mode, essentially. And then Bailey Campbell is the way that my family and my friends and the people in my day-to-day life, that's what they know me as. So I thought I would just throw that out there, because you can actually just create whatever name you want. I do recommend, though, if you are doing a personal brand, to make sure that a name is included in it. But I have, a couple of clients who wanted to do a personal brand, and so they used a portion of their name along with another word that resonated with them. So just an example, this is a silly one off the top of my head, but you could have like Rose Unstoppable, or so just for example, you could pick a name that really resonates with you. And, it could be your first name, it could be a middle name, it could be a name that you've loved since you were a child, but something that really resonates with you and is clearly a name. And then pick something like another word that really represents and resonates with you and the kind of work that you do without, graphic design or something like that. Something that can very easily represent what you do, but not specifically. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, like Emma Energized, or my mum, for example, was Kate Marie O'Brien for a very long time, and that was, her last name O'Brien was her married name, but that's what's on her marriage certificate is Kate Marie O'Brien. But recently, she hasn't really resonated with that name, and so has gone through a massive personal brand shift and has now changed her name to Kate Ruby Aroha. And Ruby Aroha was a name that she really, really resonated with since she was a child. Two names that she really resonated with. And so she's claimed those. It's really up to whatever you want to create. Now, on the flip side of that, with a personal brand, it isn't very blatantly obvious what you actually do in your business name. And that's, a plus for a business brand. So, for example, Bailey Rose is my personal brand, but I was thinking if I was going to start a business brand, I might do Bailey Rose Creative, or Bailey Rose Designs, or Graphics with Bailey Rose, or something like that very clearly states what I do. So that's just something to be aware of with a personal brand, is that it might not be as clear what you actually do just by seeing your personal brand name. But if people see it for a longer period of time and it keeps coming up in their social media, all of that kind of stuff, people will start to build a recognition to it. And then your personal brand will become synonymous with the products and services that you offer. Hi, Editing Bailey here. So I just wanted to jump in quickly because I forgot to mention something. I just wanted to mention that personal brand names don't owe themselves much to search engine optimization. And so basically what that means, if you don't know, is when you type into any kind of search engine, Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, LinkedIn, it's your ranking when you come up, basically. And so if someone is looking for something specific, like a graphic designer, web designer, I don't know what other kind of businesses exist, but you know what I mean. Your personal brand name, especially when you're starting out, won't be connected to any of those keywords. And so basically it's a really good idea, if you do decide to do a personal brand, to invest in time and money into really learning how to do SEO, if that's something that you want to learn, or pay someone who knows how to do it, so that your personal brand name will start to be associated with the keywords that will get you to your specific target audience and clients, basically. So make sure that, in my Instagram bio, I have baileyrose.co, which is my Instagram username.
but then in my tagline, so in my what should be my name, but I'm using it as a tagline, I have authentic brand and web designer. And so anyone who's looking for brand design, they can type that in and my name will start to come up, because those keywords are associated with my brand name. And so it's similar to that with websites and your Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that kind of stuff. So make sure that you are aware of that before you decide to go with a personal brand over a business brand.
So the pros of setting up a business brand is that it can take a little bit longer to set up. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because with the time that's taken to actually fully set it up, you've been able to go through and fully set up all of the foundations of your brand, what your mission statement is, who your target audience is, the goals that you're trying to achieve, all of that kind of stuff, getting an in-depth logo breakdown, color palette, all of that kind of stuff is something that you often go through when you're setting up a business brand as opposed to a personal brand. A business brand can also be much easier to sell in the future if that is something that you're interested in doing, because you can package it all up and it is separate from the person who set it up, because the products and services that were offered are associated with the business brand as opposed to with the person who created it all originally. With setting up a business brand, it can be a lot more difficult if you are wanting to kind of change the niche that you're working with, or change the products or services and kind of do like a full, 180 on the things that you're offering. It can be a lot more difficult to do that with your business brand as opposed to a personal brand, because you might have to go in and redo your business name, your business logo, your colors, and entirely rebrand everything. So with all that being said, you're going to really want to look at what you're actually creating and connect in and ask yourself, what is it that I'm trying to create here? What is the kind of business that I'm trying to set up? And what is the longevity of that business? Am I going to want to, shift and mold and evolve the offerings that I have in the future? What kind of business do I have? Is it a coaching business? Am I a graphic designer? Am I creating cute little scrunchies? Whatever it is, just write it down and get really clear on the kind of business that you're creating and you're setting up, and look at it and go, which one would really fit and work for what I'm wanting to do? Would a personal brand work for me, or do I need a more traditional business brand? So I really hope that you enjoyed this week's video. I hope you got a lot out of it. Let me know in the comments down below if this helped you. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram at baileyrose.co. You can check out my website, www.baileyrose.co. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!